Welcome to Facebook for the Blind, your look at the downfall of Western civilization through the best memes we can find each week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to that time of the week we like to celebrate Facebook for the Blind, a show for the visually and Facebook impaired. I'm your humble host, Eric. How are you this evening? Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Let me go first. Going to cover a little bit of the news because ever since the COVID lockdowns, time has just had no meaning, and there's a rift in the whole time-space continuum. So just so you remember where you were at if you're listening to this, today is the day that there were floods all over the place through Mississippi. The entire country of Pakistan has declared a state of emergency with amazing floodwaters happening there, all kinds of crazy climate change. Meanwhile, here in the United States, of course, some of the top news is always another random shooting with people dead, gunmen causing chaos in high schools. Greenland ice losses have set a new they're set to raise global sea levels by nearly a foot, and it's all happening much faster than they calculated. I read some of the stats. It's truly insane. The Russia-Ukraine war is on over day 188 of the invasion. Trump's home being searched has unearthed material possibly covered by attorney-client privilege, prosecutors say, so he has called for a special master. Which should stall the proceedings. He was hoping. And California lawmakers approved a landmark fast food worker bill. Although this was just the normal, ordinary, Associated Press wire story. So thank goodness democracy now is there to do the counterpoints. California Governor Newsom threatens to veto the farm worker union bill as he buys a $14.5 million vineyard in Napa Valley. Ex-FBI agent. They have a long history of abuse, but the Trump probe shows that a better, more effective path for the agency is possible. Climate apartheid happening in Pakistan, who contribute less than 1% to global emissions, are being ravaged by flood, displacing 33 million people, which I cannot even conceive of as such a
large.
Wow. Just absolutely insane. And trigger laws have made abortion off limits for millions. Under certain states with their trigger laws that have now worked their way through the courts. So things are getting bad. My favorite headline about all this disaster was from AP, who repeated zombie ice from Greenland will raise sea level 10 inches. And this is ice that is, it's just, there's no coming back. It is now disattached. It's not going to be replaced. The snow is not going to turn into more glaciers. This ice is dead ice, or as they say in the science, zombie ice, which I thought added a cutesy little thing to the apocalypse. A lot of people talking about federal aid, the student loan forgiveness, and oh my God, was there a lot of backlash and bitterness to student loan forgiveness. This breakdown just showed that about 1 in 5 Americans hold student loans, and more than half of those 45 million owe less than 20 grand that potentially could come back. But if you look at the numbers, that means that over half owe a fuck ton of money, like 10 grand, 20 grand, 40 grand, 100 grand, more than 100 grand, with compounding interest and just awfulness. So I don't even know. This infographic made me feel dumber than when I started looking at it. Here's one that I thought was interesting. Warner Brothers Discovery wanted to save billion. Oh, this is a tweet from Aaron Stewart who tweets at some bad ideas. Warner Brothers Discovery wanted to save $3 billion by deleting series, movies, killing payments to animation workers' health funds, firing a lot of women and minorities, and their reward has been losing $5.5 billion in market cap in a single month and alienating a lot of top talent. Great job, Warner Brothers Discovery. Losing shareholders.
They're about to fire their CEO. He's a fuck up.
Good.
Yeah, he's a fuck up.
Good, because it was crazy, man. They killed 200 episodes of Sesame Street, and it was like...
They killed movies that were already done.
Yeah.
Like, movies that had... Everything had been done except they didn't release them yet, and he fucking killed it. Why? It just couldn't be dumber. Just absolute fucking...
So, by the way, for anybody not playing the stock market, this means that the company was valued at $36 billion, and then it was valued at $30 billion. $5.5 billion in market capitalization just erased. So that's fun. This guy's been getting a lot of talk, and I don't know who he is, and I don't care. But Andrew Tate, it says, TikTok now joins Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook in permanently banning accounts ran by Andrew Tate. And Comrade Teen Vogue says, cope. Andrew Tate may come back later. The Raw story reported earlier today that the feds wanted 17 years for the January 6th eye gouger who bludgeoned a cop with a flagpole. Remember the guy who bludgeoned a cop with the flagpole?
Yep.
I mean, and in a future universe where you can instantly insert animations, that would have been a blue line, Blue Lives Matter, cop flag that he was beating him with. That really would have been, but, not quite ironic enough, but close. Didn't have a great animal closing story, so here's just a headline. Wild turkey adopts human family, so they build her a home. The Dodo Wild Hearts reports. So the Dodo on YouTube, if you care to see a wild turkey adopted by a human family. This was actually a cool thing that I saw from Vice Australia Science here. A recent giant jet, that's a lightning bolt that shoots up through the clouds and into space, captured in a photograph shooting 50 miles into space, a phenomenon that scientists are just beginning to understand. These are commonly called blue jets. Often there's also red sprites and other fun space lightning. Space lightning. Freaking love it. And just for fun to close it out, since we played quite a bit of Minor Threat in the playlist tonight, here's a picture of Minor Threat in 1981 and Minor Threat in 2018. An even more minor threat, I think. But I don't know.
Even less of a threat.
Even less of a threat. And that has been some news from Facebook for the Blind for August 30th, 2022. Now handing it over to my lovely co-host, Quiet Michael Labune. How you doing this evening, Quiet Michael?
Hey, I'm okay.
Good.
Things are okay. It's been worse.
Good.
Start here. This is a pretty classic picture of white Jesus, loaves and fishes, passed around a basket of some bread and fish. And it says, Jesus' miracle of the loaves and fishes was a slap in the face to all the people who brought their own lunch.
My favorite.
And, actually, because my echo chamber is actually complete, so I haven't seen a single person actually bitching about student loan forgiveness.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh yeah, I have cultivated my social media for my liking. Don't you understand? I'm not on there for anybody else. I'm on there for me. So it's my entertainment, and I'm not entertained by Republicans anymore. Anyway,
dude, not even the snake venom. It's not. COVID's not a virus. It's snake venom in the shower water. That's funny.
No. Yeah, but it's funny. It's funniest when it's being already mocked on memes, not when it's just some like piece of shit guy that I went to high school with who was a dick to me back then. Like I just don't pay attention to those people anymore. But online, in real life, sure, but not online for fuck's sake. But I looked it up, and it turns out the people most bothered by forgiveness of debt has been Christians. And the hard thing for me to understand about that is the most famous Christian prayer got to be Jesus. Jesus, who said, "Hey, when you pray, pray
forgive
like
us
this."
our debtors.
That's how he starts. Yeah, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Yo.
It literally means forgive me of my debts, and I'll forgive people who owe me their debts. And so once again, it's just me saying what has been said before and what will be said again, and that is like the cultural phenomenon that is called Christianity in this country has fuck all to do with the teachings of Jesus. Moving right along, Eric Solbear, friend of the show, Eric Solbear. Eric, great to see you back on the show. Has another white Jesus, and he says he's speaking to a crowd of people. And he says about 3.8 billion years ago, after the earth cooled and the first oceans formed, the first prokaryotes. Are you guys paying attention? I don't want any of you to doze off and then just make up some shit about snakes and ribs. This is a picture of a big guy. He's wearing showing a picture of the back of his shirt. It's just a yellow T-shirt, and then in black impact font it says, "Save the bees, plant more trees, clean the seas, titties."
I like.
We got to get this shirt for.
That's a great shirt.
We got to get this for the TDs. Except it should say TDs. Anyway, Sarah Dutcher. It's Sarah Dutcher. Hey, Sarah. Writes, first draft of email. Please fuck all the way off. Email sent. I apologize for any confusion. Got downgraded. The hospital chaplain. This is a really niche meme, but it's just really nice. It's a picture of a woman getting her hair done at the salon, and it says healthcare profession. It says hair care professionals. The chaplain's chaplain. And I think the reason this is so funny to me is because I don't look forward to anything quite as much as I look forward to going to see my barber. So, yeah, we see you out there, hair care professionals. Thanks for keeping us sane. Jim Banks, Representative Jim Banks, who is not a friend of the show. Jim.
Right.
Not a friend. He writes, student loan forgiveness undermines one of our military's greatest recruitment tools at a time of dangerously low enlistment. That's right. He's saying student loan forgiveness makes it likely that fewer people will join the military.
Yep. Saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, no kidding. That the United States war machine requires more people to feed into it, keep it alive. Anyway, WikiHow has how to pay off student loans. And there's a picture of an Army recruiter talking to a high school kid or college kid. Step 1, join the military. You won't be buried in debt if you're buried in real life. Gonna let that one sit.
Nice.
Moving on. This is a picture of a Viking warrior holding an axe. And it says, you only go to Valhalla if you die in battle. Me, in my final moment, throws juice box at the hospice nurse. And see you in Valhalla. And with that, I'm through round one, the wholesome round. Back to you, Eric, for your round one. Wholesome round. Keeping it wholesome. We're keeping it wholesome.
I'm having a difficult time fulfilling the branding of the wholesome round. I will just admit it right now.
It's a constitutional wholesome. We don't. It's the wholesome in the wholesome round has no real power.
Okay. As long as I'm not constitutionally bound to that, because I would hate to.
No. I mean, it's like a constitutional queen in England, right? No real power. Just there, like a placeholder.
I don't want to perjure myself with any misguided memes, is what I'm saying. Friend of the show, Mike Kaplan. Thanks for listening.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Yeah, he said, Uber, but just for parallel parking if you need help, like real quick. I guess an idea right there, Mike. I think you are honest.
Awesome.
398 reactions agree with me, too. This next one I freaking love. Weird history has been suggested to me many times, and this one's killing me. A British person is trending for guessing what all 50 states are famous for without Googling. And this is, they've got the web address here, but the British person who apparently posts under the name human_not_bees. Okay. It says,
Sounds like something bees would say.
And there's a British flag here next to his avatar. I, a British person, will now list all 50 states of the USA and what I believe they're famous for without Googling. Drum roll, please. To the best of my knowledge, Florida is famous for literally every news article that makes Europe go, oh God, that country. To the best of my knowledge, Kansas is famous for the Wizard of Oz, and it's been downhill ever since. To the best of my knowledge, Michigan is famous for having a city that made enough cars that everyone could leave. To the best of my knowledge, Missouri is famous for having a place called Kansas City just to confuse people.
True. It's actually true. Yeah.
Really good one in there. Friend of the show, Mike Sington, posts a picture of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and it says, "What is wrong with Ron DeSantis's arms?" And he is standing with his arms distinctly out from his body at a weird angle, which I am just now realizing reminds me of old 1970s toys, like maybe an Evel Knievel, that they didn't quite get the arm posability down, and they just sort of hung in an awkward space, like, keep pretending to be human, keep pretending to be human. I don't know, just thought I pointed out, probably too visual for this show, but, moving on. This next is a picture of a dog with really huge buggy eyes looking at you, and it says, "After hearing her owner's story, Dolly suddenly realizes she was not cut out to be an emotional support dog after all." Big bug eyes. All right. Let's stick with the dogs. Yeah. 3-panel cartoon here, theycantalk.com. And we have dog number 1, and it says, "I help my blind friend navigate the city." Dog number 2, wearing a police vest, says, "I make sure the airport is safe." And the third dog says, "I eat shoes."
Right.
All right, moving on. This is a retort to yours about the Christians that are mad. It says, "If you're a Christian and you're big mad about the possibility of student loan debt being canceled, let me remind you that the entirety of your faith is built upon a debt you couldn't pay that somebody stepped in and paid for you." Which I thought was pretty good.
Yes.
And this one's a picture of Jesus, and it says, "Jesus paying for the sins of everyone is an insult to those who paid for their own sins."
Damn right. Actually, honestly, okay, a little, right? I've paid for some sins, goddammit. And,
sins are good.
I don't like it that
there's inflation now, too. It's expensive.
It feels a little like, whose vote are you trying to win here, Jesus?
Yeah.
What about the working man?
Yeah.
What about the working man?
No, I thought the Christian contradictions were lovely. And so once again, Jesus paying for the sins of everyone is an insult to those who paid for their own sins. Big follow-up meme. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually the response here was a trolley problem, which I thought was pretty good. And then we got the trolley problem, and it's already run over a bloody bunch of bodies, and now you're at the switch, and it says, "Would it be fair to the people that the trolley has already killed to divert it now?"
Exactly. In both of these, it's just spot on. Yeah.
And then we had another one, and it was the same, but it's just tons of bodies. Just it stretches into infinity in the distance. So we've got, at least 9 piles of bodies. And it says, "Would it be fair to the people the trolley has already killed to divert it now?" Which made it funnier for me. But getting back to Jesus paying for the sins of everyone is an insult to those who paid for their own sins. We have here a picture of white Jesus in sunglasses, smoking a joint, drinking a beer, saying, "Jesus wants to remind you that if you don't sin, he died for nothing."
Always welcome here, groovy Jesus.
Groovy Jesus. And sticking to that, here's a picture of white Jesus, hands out, asking the question, "Hate liberals all week, worship one on Sunday."
Nice. Oh, woo! That's making people mad. I like that one.
Indeed. Yeah, we got a lot of Jesus memes this week. Normally for the irreverent round, but you jumped the gun on student forgiveness, so we've got to go with the Christian hypocrisy. This is a good one from the Nib. This is Tom Tomorrow, and he is posting his latest 6-panel cartoon, "Jubilee for me, but not for thee." And I'm just going to read it unconventionally. We have the Penguin, whose name I don't actually know, talking to the white guy, Republican, in a suit and tie. And the white guy says, "Biden's plan to forgive student debt is an outrage." And the Penguin says, "Well, sure, it would have gone further, but it's still going to help a lot of people." "That's not what I mean. And you know it. It's an insult to everyone who ever worked hard to pay off their own loans." Penguin says, "Right, because last thing we want is to make life better for subsequent generations. What kind of a society would even do such a thing? Child labor laws are a slap in the face to orphans who worked in coal mines. Seatbelts and airbags are an affront to everyone who has ever been thrown through a windshield in a car crash. I could go on. I'd rather you did not. It's a slippery slope. If we could just wipe out some student debt, why not all of it? Heck, why not just make college free? Give everybody guaranteed health care while we're at it. Penguin, you're getting so close to getting it. Look, if somebody wants to go deep into debt to pursue a degree in basket weaving or gender studies, snicker, that's their choice. Why should I have to pay for it? Excellent point, the Penguin says. It says here that the 6-figure PPP loan that you took out for your podcast, Riffin' with the Biff Man, was forgiven. Your fundamental error is to assume that I can be shamed for my obvious hypocrisy. And yet, hope springs eternal.
Yeah, that's the part.
He nailed it. I thought that, I'm sorry to read so much text, but damn, Tom Tomorrow. At the nib for more. And finally, closing for the wholesome round, John Collins posting at logically_JC. If you are more upset about loan forgiveness for low-income borrowers than tax breaks for the wealthiest 1%, you are kind of an asshole.
By the way, the heading to that cartoon said Jubilee for me, but not for thee.
Uh-huh.
And Jubilee is a concept that I don't think the right-wing MAGA quote-unquote Christians really get. It's just Jubilee was every 7 years, all debt disappeared.
Yep. It was interesting, too, because we got a lot of Christian farmers around here, and they cite that because in the same passage, they talk about leaving the fields fallow for 1 year to let them regenerate and get cover crops. And believe me, I talked to farmers. Farmers are all about that part. And it's like, so you have read it.
Oh, they know it. In fact, they often misquote it. And look, listen, we can get off this. And the whole point of this is just to point out that the very, very shallow approach they take to their own text, which they claim they read literally. The first thing Jesus says publicly according to the Gospels is the Spirit of the sovereign God is upon me, quoting Isaiah, because he has appointed me to preach good news to the poor. Right. And then he goes on and on, right? To set the captive free, to proclaim freedom for the prisoner, heal the sick, to bind up the brokenhearted, and to declare the year of Jubilee. This is the first thing Jesus says.
Wow.
He doesn't say it's good news for people who made their wealth off of turning poor people's bodies into money. Right? Doesn't say it's good news for the prison warden. But anyway, I digress. The hypocrisy, the saddest part is that they don't give a shit if it's inconsistent with their supposed beliefs. But we can, I think you're muted, Eric, but we can stay hopeful.
Oh, no.
At least I can hear you. Oh, there you are. I hear you. Dumb idiot Riley Fox. Friend of the show, dumb idiot Riley Fox, at Riley_Fox. Eric, I pulled this just for you.
Oh, yay.
Says, there is a new fighting game on Steam called Write and Fight, in which all of the characters are classic writers. Here is a 100% real screenshot from the game of Ernest Hemingway punching H.P. Lovecraft in the nuts. And it's a picture of a library and fighting game. Library is the background.
I can tell you what, that looks pretty accurate. That actually seems like something that would happen if you put those two people in the same space.
I want to point out that in this picture, Ernest Hemingway is shirtless, and I also think that's the way this would be.
Probably.
A shirtless Ernest Hemingway.
Yep.
Glow Fuck Yourself. Hey, Glow Fuck Yourself. Glad you made it to the show. Oh. Has a picture of big 1980s glasses, and it just says, serial killers saw these glasses and were like, yo. Those are some serial killer glasses. Trash Can Paul. Those 3 panels from The Matrix. And first panel, Morpheus is holding a red pill and a blue pill. And then there's Keanu Reeves thinking. And then, I'm sorry, Lawrence Fishburne. I should say both actors' names or both characters' names. Whatever. Lawrence Fishburne responding in the third panel. So in the first panel, Lawrence Fishburne, Morpheus holding the red pill and the blue pill. But he says, I got us some drugs. And Neo says, that's interesting, because I take drugs. And Morpheus says, and me. That's why I got 2. Andrew Chamming says, me. Do you think Chewbacca has pecs or a trail of tiny teats like a piglet? Uber driver, why did you sit in the front?
Oh, it's beautiful.
I got about 3 more. This one fucking killed me this week. Go fuck yourself is back. This is a picture of Hank Hill naked standing grilling, and his body is like just like an upside down pear. And it says, before you message my man, just know this is what he looks like without clothes, and I like to fight. I think this was another go fuck yourself. And this is discharge paperwork from somebody's hospitalization, and it says why you were hospitalized: benzodiazepine abuse, cocaine abuse, alcohol abuse, marijuana abuse, struck by lightning. And it says, the caption says, sounds like a hell of a night. Struck by lightning. Catherine Cohen at Cat Cohen, friend of the show, says, when someone doesn't like my work, they're typically jealous of my round tits and hourglass frame.
Hilarious.
And last one for round 2. Adrienne Marie Brown made this, and this is like an old timey Renaissance era kind of picture. And one woman is picking apples, and another one is sitting with her hand on her face, like thinking. And the woman picking apples says, "Fuck anyone who doesn't like you." And the girl sitting with her hand on her face says, "Wow, that's a lot of sex."
Oh my God. Okay. That was okay.
It would be so much. It would be a lot of sex.
It would be a lot of sex. I now get that. That's funny. Oh my God. That's big. So I think this was officially, I did this as the overcoming forgiveness episodes because there was just so much of like, you know, a lot of butthurt Republicans and just self-owning all over the place. That was the best part. There was like Conservative Self-Owns is a group that apparently I follow because it was chock full this week, all week. This one popped off. The Lawrence County Republican Party posted and used a stolen graphic that had actually been used in an anti-Klan in the Republican Party memo. So if you look closely at this elephant, which is red, white, and blue and typical and everything, a little silhouette here, then you notice that the spaces in between the legs, the 3 white-shaped cones, have eyes, and they are indeed Klan hoods. So
Jesus.
The Lawrence County Republican Party doesn't have a graphic designer, didn't pay anyone to generate a graphic, stole a graphic, didn't look at it, doesn't know about it, and then used it to put a post out there to congratulate their new county chairman. Vote for your local Republican Party. They're smart and know things and see stuff. Anyway.
Jesus.
Posted in Conservative Self-Owns, which I would not recommend following because there's just too much right now. Let us settle down. The vast majority of it was lots of citizens out there just posting things like this, like at Lindy Lee, forgiven PPP loans, Marjorie Taylor Greene, $180,000, Boebert, $233,000, Catholic Church, $3.5 billion, Reverend, perhaps Joel Osteen, $4.4 million. Tom Brady, almost $1 million. Says the GOP should slink away in shame for attacking Biden for forgiving $10,000 of student debt. But they won't, because they have no shame. Prager University posted about the day of the forgiveness. It's not complicated. Bailing out irresponsible behavior will spur more irresponsible behavior. And Jacqueline the Woke at Chaotic Leftist post, this you, PragerU? And it's the PragerU's PPP Foundation loan. Look at that, $705,000. Almost all to payroll. Well, that's nice. Yeah, because Prager University, and that shouldn't be freaking legal to even say because they are not a university. They do not have a building. They do not have a library. They are a concept, an idea, a university. It is just a podcast for spreading hate. They got $705 million to be hypocritical and get owned. John Schwartz at Schwartz. Wow, I didn't realize you could had that at Schwartz. Oh, way to go, John. He posted, as Biden cancels some student debt, remember why the debt exists. A key Reagan advisor warned in 1970 that free college was producing the dangerously explosive dynamite of an educated proletariat, and we have to be selective on who we allow to go through higher education. So if you need any of those things, just direct message me and I will send you links. But yes, in many, many cases, the root of all evils is Reagan. It always goes back to Reagan. It always goes back to Reagan.
Reagan's like the OG Trump.
Yeah. And that was Roger Freeman who gave him that crap advice. And by the end of Reagan's term, the University of California and the City University of New York wiped out free tuition. So that taught those Berkeley students a thing or two. Moving on, friend of the show, Sean King retweeted friend of the show, Nina Turner. Nina, thank you for the cards and letters. You're lovely. At Nina Turner posts, canceling $10,000 in student debt when the average white borrower is $12,000 in debt, while average black women hold over $52,000 in debt isn't just unacceptable, it's structural racism. And I believe Nina Turner has a point. Moving on.
Nina Turner always has a point.
Indeed, right. I love following her. Explain why cancel. This next meme has been going around. Explain why canceling $1.9 billion in student debt is a handout, but a $1.9 billion tax cut for rich people was a stimulus. Explain it to me like I'm in kindergarten.
Yeah, come on now.
Loved it. Hannity, Sean Hannity, not friend of the show, Sean Hannity.
No.
Who's reportedly paid upwards of $30 million a year. Hannity, who's paid $30 million a year, noted that there were Fox News employees who could be eligible to have some of their debt canceled. He said, quote, "The people who are likely to get benefit of them are the middle class. You know, think about it. You get out of college, you're not making a lot of money." Hannity said in his radio show Wednesday, we have a lot of young people that work on my TV show. They're not making $125,000. They're now eligible to get, in some cases, up to $20,000. And in other cases, $10,000. This is new Green Deal radical socialism. I just hope to God somebody that I know knows some young Fox News employees and knows that Hannity hates you commies.
Jesus, can you imagine your boss talking like that?
Precisely why I said nothing fosters a healthy work environment like a multimillionaire boss telling you poor employees you suck.
Exactly.
I hope they all quit you, Sean. Not before like stealing the keys to the bathroom. At Matthew Gertz posts, unfair to people who don't live in hurricane zones to constantly bail out people who live along the Gulf Coast. It's like, yeah, it is unfair. Glad we do it.
Right.
Cap Action posts, what's that about paying loans back? And again, a long list of Republican members of Congress whose PPP loans were forgiven, who are all bitching about the student loan forgiveness on Twitter. And you could just Google their name, go to Twitter and go, oh, what did Mark Wayne Mullen, Republican of Oklahoma, who got $1 million in loan forgiveness, have to say? And you'd find it. You'd find tons of it. This next is a 4-panel. And in the first one, we see a man doing the strength pose, showing his biceps, saying, "I beat cancer." And then a little ellipsis as he raises a cocked eyebrow and gives the side eye. Says, "If they find a cure for cancer now, I'm going to be so mad."
No shit.
Fourth panel says, this comic is about student loans. Because no, you cured cancer, you'd be thrilled. Ben Shapiro, you remember Ben Shapiro, whose wife has a really dry pussy? Apparently.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro says, "I have a controversial idea about paying off student loan debt. Don't take out debt that you are going to be unable to pay off. Don't ask others to pay off your debt." And old wicked woman seeking justice at Grown Room says, "This you?" and posts a PPP loan to Ben Shapiro. Unfortunately, I found out this week that there are actually more than one person named Ben Shapiro.
Oh,
um,
that sucks.
but still, I'm throwing it in here because I need to apologize for not telling the truth, and because screw, I'm sure he did something else. Kimberly Graham posts this to Chuck Grassley, who said, people making up to $125,000 or a couple making up to $250,000 are getting student loans paid for by everyone else who didn't go to college or paid their own loans. Grumpy old man telling people to get off their lawn. By the way, do you know that when he's running for office again as a senator, it's a 6-year term, and when he completes that term, he will be 106 years old. Chuck Grassley.
Jeez.
Yeah. Chuck Grassley plans to take Trump's federal farm bailout cash, calls it equal treatment back in 2018, as reported by the Des Moines Register. But people getting their student loans, 10 grand. Clutch my pearls. This next meme has been going around, and it is an aerial shot of Joel Osteen's house. Joel Osteen's house has a pool that is bigger than a mansion. It has a pool house that is the size of a little McMansion. And then there's his main mansion, which seems to be connected to a larger mansion. As far as I can tell, this is like 4 mansions kind of squished together with a big circle drive and a parking lot that it could accommodate 25. Huge. Couple of decks, gazebo, a whole bunch of other stuff going on there. I don't even think I can see the whole property in just this shot. This is Joel Osteen's house. Joel doesn't pay taxes. Joel received over $4 million in aid. You got $600.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And finally, capping out Act 2, we have friend of the show, Chuck. Chuck, thanks for these memes. Reposting Representative Jim Jordan. Hey, don't Google Jim Jordan and soccer scandal at Ohio State. Representative Jim Jordan says, why should a machinist in Ohio pay for the student loans of a jobless philosophy major in Los Angeles? And ad girl MM replies to @Jim Jordan saying, why should a machinist in Ohio pay you $174,000 to tweet all day?
Oh, shit.
And that concludes Act 2, the irreverent round on Facebook for the Blind.
Whoa.
Head back to Michael for round 3 with some funny memes, and then closing with our post for the most.
Round 3, penultimate round. Mike Primavera, been on the show before. Friend of the show, hey Mike, says, woke up with a ton of anxiety about a dream I can't really remember, but thank God I'm back in the real world where, nope, this is worse. Your boy Danny Blaze. This is something I've been wondering for such a long time. I'm glad somebody finally fucking said it. There's a picture of Clyde Drexler. And it says, why did everyone look so old in the 80s and 90s? Clyde Drexler was 27 in this photo. 27. And Clyde Drexler looks 40 in this picture. And I'm telling you, people just looked older in the 80s and 90s. I used to think that it was because I was so much younger, so people just looked old. But no, when I look at pictures of my parents when they were like in their mid-20s, they look 40. I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe Clyde Drexler. I have a hard time imagining Clyde Drexler ever being a child. It seems like he would just be shorter with a smaller frame, but that face, that mustache. Mark at the Cat Whisperer says, streaming services should have a resume from where you fell asleep button. Please. I will let the NSA spy on me if they'll just tell me where the fuck I fell asleep in my favorite series. I give up on shows because I can't find where I fell asleep, and I just say, fuck it.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you, Mark, for finally saying it. Very brave. Oh, this is so strange.
That's
this is a picture. This is a picture of an owl sitting on, like, it looks like probably a vet's office, and it's sitting on the floor. And it's sitting crisscross applesauce. And it says in all caps, owls can sit crisscross applesauce. And I'm looking at it, it's right here. And Dick Wolf says, it's always something new with these motherfuckers. So true. It is always something new with them motherfuckers. I got 5 more for this round. This is a picture of a woman in a heart-shaped hot tub, and she's looking very despondent, and she has a lot of makeup on. And it says, "As soon as I stop being mentally ill, it's over for these capitalists." Here's a picture of an anime person. Short shorts that are for some reason unbuttoned, one fishnet stocking, a devil tail, a jacket that's down off of their shoulders, cell phone in one hand, bag in the other. And it says, "Bitches be like, gender is what's in your pants." Okay, then my pronouns are Smith and Wesson. I want to say, don't be sleeping on those, on like our trans siblings now. I'd say at least half of my trans friends own guns. Yeah. This is someone wearing a shirt, and the shirt is really interesting. It's actually two red hands with black fingernails lighting a match, and it's a black shirt. A really cool looking shirt, and it says, "May the bridges I burn light my way."
Nice. That's such a great line.
It really is. "May the bridges I burn light my way." Yeah, dope. "Glow Fuck Yourself" is back, and it says, "Avocado. Hello, I'm good fat. Bacon. Light cigarette. Punches avocado." And my last meme for this round, the penultimate round, is from Rachel Figueroa, who says, "Mix things up by putting framed quotes meant for the kitchen into the bathroom." And here we have a picture of a toilet. And on top of the toilet is a picture that says, "Life is short, lick the bowl." And back to you, Eric, for round 3.
All right. Tight round 3 coming up. And then on to our post with the most. This is a 2-panel with some cartoon dinosaurs. One of the cartoon dinosaurs wears a monocle and a top hat. And he says to the plain dinosaur, "Poor people shouldn't have children." And the other dinosaur without the top hat says, "Rich countries shouldn't have poor people."
No shit.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. Hey, I got an idea. Internet Himbo on Twitch, who posts at Internet Hippo, says, "Every time you take an ibuprofen, you spit in the face of everyone who has ever had a headache before it was invented. Shameful."
Shameful. It's shameful.
Shameful. Keep trying to teach these people shame through every metaphor on the planet, every parable angle we can come at this. Representative Jim Banks at Rep Jim Banks says, "Student loan forgiveness undermines one of our military's greatest recruitment tools at a time of dangerously low enlistments." I believe you cited this one as well, Michael. And Brendel replies, "It's wild you just admit this, man."
Yeah, right?
Tons of liberals going, "Thanks for saying the quiet part out loud." Yeah, it is.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does undermine it.
Yeah.
But, we've been really riding the Republicans this week because they deserve it and more. We just don't have enough time. But, Democrats, this is a picture of Palpatine, and it says, Palpatine, Dems in the minority. "Oh, I'm too weak." Dems in the majority. "Oh, I'm too weak." Dems when they're stopping Bernie Sanders and pro-worker policies. With the lightning bolts coming up. Palpatine's fingers. I'm like, oh, yeah. I've been hearing this for years. I would help you, but we're just too weak. FBI in Mar-a-Lago keeps going on, and here we have a scene from Home Alone 2 where Donald Trump confronts little Billy, whatever. He says, "Excuse me, where's the lobby?" Kevin says, "Excuse me, where's the lobby?" Trump says, "I don't know, but the launch code is 8675309. By the way, my friend at Skee-Ball Librarian liked this post by David Troy. Says, "Whatever it is you think the Trump document theft is about, I assure you it's several orders of magnitude worse. And it wasn't even really about money or betraying the country, though he has. Much bigger, much worse. Stay tuned. It's beyond imagination." And I don't even know what he's talking about, but you know what I do know? It's true. It's going to be true. It's going to be way worse than I can imagine. Moving on here to a nice post from the Bristol Anarchist Federation at Bristol A Fed says, damn, got caught in a scam, sharing so others are aware. I've been spending most of my money on a flat to live in. Turns out the guy I've been paying got a loan to buy the flat, and I've been paying the loan off, giving him extra, and he gets to keep the flat. View me.
Yeah, no shit.
And guys, I hate to do this. This is a first, but I think I have a friend at the door, so we need to pause for one moment. And I literally am going to have to do this one in post. God damn it! Right back.
Weird. You just pause the recording. I'm going to do that for him.
All right, wait. Oh, look at you, sweet. Yeah, let's knock this puppy out. All right. Friend of the show, Father Nathan Monk, who I loved it. On the 24th, he says, man, I really enjoyed my hiatus. Maybe I should spend less time online. Also me. Or I could troll Dave Ramsey fans about student loan forgiveness.
Nice.
I love Father Nathan Monk. Says, on to Dave Ramsey's post. Lots of tears from the F your feelings crowd tonight. The cognitive dissonance between thinking debt forgiveness is bad and believing Jesus forgave your debts is real.
Yeah.
Jesus forgave our sins and took them on himself. He didn't pass them on to others. Huge difference. You should be ashamed. Father Nathan Monk, I'm not ashamed. I'm forgiven. Father Nathan, he's replying, but his forgiveness was free. This will cost you and me a boatload of taxes forever. Father Nathan Monk, ask Jesus how free it was. Pretty sure it cost him an arm and a leg. Another reply, it's not his to forgive. It's our money. Father Nathan Monk replies, it's also my money. Welcome to the New World Order, pal. It's great. Eat some free cake.
Nice.
Except we're told to pay our debts. The debts forgave by Jesus are spiritual. And in this particular instance, the debt doesn't disappear. It's paid by somebody else. Father Nathan Monk, Jesus, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Or some random Dan on the internet. Jesus said pay debt somewhere, I think. Someone named Thomas has said, this is not a prodigal son moment. It's a here's free money. Vote for me, young voters, and F you responsible people. And by young, you mean millennial single parents with 3 kids and a mortgage.
Yeah, no shit.
Another one, Michael, there's no such thing as debt forgiveness. It doesn't vanish into thin air. It gets transferred to someone. Stay in your lane, bud. Father Nathan Monk checks my theology degree. I'm in my lane, pal. Move.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
Harry says,
God.
better get back and study more. What a way to skewer scripture. Father Monk, maybe you should go read everything in the Bible says about debt forgiveness and charging interest and then get back to me. I'll be over here fanning myself with my debt-free theology degree, waiting. Oh, my God.
Father Nathan Monk is a former priest. I mean, he's a former Catholic priest.
Yeah.
He can say whatever he wants.
Following Father Nathan Monk, you are missing out. And I'm going to end this before our post with the most by clicking on one last post. Jake at Jake Riley says, dear mother of a North Carolina State student, please rethink your license plate, which says NCST mom. Could be written a few different ways. And that is the end of Act 3 before our post with the most.
Ooh.
So what you got, buddy?
Right, post with the most. Here we come. And it's this. It's just a picture of a like early 1960s looking dad with his hair combed back, salt and pepper hair combed back, smiling, goofy, but his eyes are really big and he doesn't seem to have any eyelids. It's unsettling. But the caption above his head says, I'm smarter than you're. And YOU''RE. And this meme, there's something so fucking weird about it because I don't understand exactly what grammar rule is being broken here.
Right.
But there's something really wrong about making the last two words a conjunction here. I mean, it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah, something wrong.
I'm smarter than you are.
Dude, I gotta say,
Anyway.
that was you text me all the memes ahead of time, and that when that came through, I laughed. That was the last thing.
It's a tough one. You're like, what the fuck?
All right, guys, getting on to the post with the most. And by the way, I want to thank the gods at Facebook and the algorithm that have made me some kind of weird creator that now I can actually get my real stats. Look at this craziness, man. The Ben Shapiro that I posted as what's an example of a cell phone that turned out not to be true reached 3,200 people. Almost 1,200 people engaged with it. The PragerU thing got 722 engagements. The Father Monk thread that we just went through got 139, and these next two are the ones rounding out the top. So first off, this one, which I think I did last week, is atheist activist Chaz Stevens is sending Arabic language "In God We Trust" posters to schools in Texas. A state law requires public schools to display donated "In God We Trust" posters, but it doesn't say the signs have to be in English. Loophole.
Nice.
Yeah, and you got, dude, to see "In God We Trust" written in Arabic with a little American flag and a little Texas flag, it looks tremendously confusing and delightful. And that one was the reigning champion. But today, I did have a huge spike in this one, actually pretty much tied. At Caitlin Burns at Transcribe says, if you have a problem with the student loan cancellation because you already paid off your student loans, just pretend it's a tax cut for the rich that you also never got, but mysteriously didn't complain about. So,
No shit.
here we go. And a friend of the show, Chris, says, I literally just said this in the post right before I scrolled this. God forbid our tax dollars ever help the lower classes. It's like, amen. That is what irks them worse than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my post with the most. And I believe that we have fulfilled our constitutional requirements for this episode of Facebook for the Blind for August 30th, 2022.
Woo!
Love you, George.
Woo!
All right, my friend.
Thanks for listening to an episode of Facebook for the Blind. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.